What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports, back again with another one. One of the biggest names in the sport of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis, who holds a regular version of the WBA lightweight title, was involved in a hit-and-run accident in Baltimore. It took place on November 5th, 2020. I remember when this story first broke, people talked about it when it initially came out, but it got swept up under the rug. Now, Gervonta Davis struck a deal with the prosecutor, which would have enabled him to avoid jail time. He was going to serve a 1-year suspended sentence. So he wasn't going to do no jail time. It was going to be a 1-year suspended sentence. And he was going to do 2 months of house confinement. He also struck a deal with 3 of the 4 victims, a monetary deal where he paid those victims to no longer pursue charges. Now, the 4th victim, when she heard of the deal that he struck with the prosecutor, she was not happy, because the 4th victim, I believe her name is Alicia Smith. I'm sorry if I got her name wrong, but she was pregnant at the time, and she said that Gervonta Davis looked her in the eyes when she needed help. When he struck her car, he was driving a Lamborghini, and she said he totally destroyed her car, and she was in need of medical assistance. And he looked her in her eyes, and another car arrived on the scene. They got items out of the Lamborghini, transferred it to the second car, and they drove off. This is very, very, very disturbing. Very disturbing. Now, the judge has rejected that plea deal, and he will now go to trial December 12th. Now, that is a very important date, December 12th, because he was set to fight December 17th on Showtime pay-per-view, and he is in deep negotiations with Ryan Garcia for a mega fight. That has now been placed on hold, because if he found guilty of those charges, he will serve jail time, and obviously he will not be available to fight Ryan Garcia or anybody on December 17th. Very, very, very disturbing news. Very disturbing news. The female victim said that she was pregnant at the time, that she suffered a knee injury, that she says will never be the same, and she had a problem with a gallbladder. And she is not only seeking monetary for what she went through, she's also seeking criminal charges. So she's not only seeking restitution, she wants money just like 3 of those victims got paid off. She wants her restitution, but she's also seeking justice criminally. So it will be a 2-day trial, December 12th. And I basically believe this puts a kibosh on Gervonta Tank Davis fighting in December 17th. Now, I did a video earlier today talking about Rolly versus AB, and I left out some details. Now, obviously, they're going to have to agree on weight. Adrian Broner has had a problem making 140. He said he wants to go back to 140. He thinks he's a little bit too small for 147. But his last fight that he was attempting to fight, Omar Figueroa, that fight ended up getting moved from 142, I believe either a catch weight or 147. He pulled out of that fight due to depression. A lot of people, including Omar Figueroa, believe he pulled out of that fight because he was not on track to make weight. Basically insinuating that he was not taking his training seriously. Adrian Broner has been known to party, known to drink. Whatever the case was, he was not on track to make weight, according to Omar Figueroa. That's the reason why he pulled out of that fight. Some people say that he pulled out of that fight because he was not happy with the money that he was making on that fight, and he was not happy with the venue that was going to put on that fight. He used to fight in Las Vegas. I think that fight was going to be in Hollywood, Florida. You know, I believe the capacity was not to Adrian Broner's liking. You know, he used to fight in arenas. He's used to fighting in on the Strip in Las Vegas. He used to fighting in big time arenas, and I don't think he felt that Hollywood, Florida was a big time location, and the facility that they were fighting in was not a big time venue for Adrian Broner. So if him and Rolly are going to fight, that fight would probably be at a catch weight, somewhere above 140 pounds. Now that fight, from what I was hearing and from what I was speculating, actually, I was thinking it probably would take place January 1st, 2023. Last year, PBC put on a pay-per-view event involving King Kong Ortiz versus Charles Martin. That fight took place January 1st on Fox pay-per-view. And I was thinking that Rolly versus AB would be January 1st, 2023. But if Gervonta Tank Davis is not available, which everything is pointing toward him not being able to fight on December 17th, we could see Adrian Broner taking on Rolly Romero December 17th on Showtime pay-per-view. Or maybe we get Rolly Romero taking on Ryan Garcia. That would be a good comparison fight. You see how Rolly did against Gervonta. Let's see how Rolly does against Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia outperforms Gervonta Tank Davis, gets Rolly out of there earlier in more devastating fashion, more dominating fashion. That would build up the fight between Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis even more, presuming that he gets out of this legal trouble that he's in. He's not doing extended jail time. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But the details of this hit and run is very, very disturbing. I read this article, and I had read it when it first came out a couple of years ago, but, you know, you didn't hear nothing else about it, so I said, well, you know, Gervonta Tank Davis paid the people off, and they made it go away. But it did not go away, because one of the victims was like, nah, I'm not going to just take this money and you get this deal with the prosecutor where you don't do no jail time, and I'm sitting here with a knee that's never going to be the same. My gallbladder got messed up. I was pregnant at the time. You looked me in my eyes knowing I needed medical system, and you ended up driving away, leaving the scene of the crime. And I feel some type of way about this agreement that you cut with the prosecutor. I don't think that's fair. So now we're here today looking at a trial for Gervonta Tank Davis. Very, very disturbing news. Very disturbing news. And then the fact that Gervonta Davis was in the car with his girlfriend. I don't know if it was him or his girlfriend. They called somebody. They called the second car to come over there to transport items out of the Lamborghini to another car, and they drove off, leaving all four victims to fend for themselves. That's very disturbing. Very disturbing. And they said the Lamborghini wasn't even in Gervonta Tank Davis's name. I don't know if Mayweather Promotions owned that car, or Floyd Mayweather Jr. himself bought that car for Gervonta, but it's in Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s name, or maybe it's in Leonard Ellaby's name. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But the bottom line is the car did not belong to Gervonta Tank Davis. You know, he's supposed to be this cash cow. He's supposed to be the face of 140 pounds and below. But the car that he was driving in that particular night, he did not own. Now, he was fresh off a win. He was out at a club celebrating his birthday and his win. And obviously, he had too much to drink. And they say he ran a stop sign or ran a red light, and he hit another vehicle. He not only put the lives of himself and his girlfriend at risk, but he put the lives of four innocent individuals at risk. And for him not to stay there until the police come, until the medical personnel come, was very, very disturbing to hear. And all that's going to be coming to light during that trial. You know, they're going to say he got a tent there. He left the scene of the crime. He didn't stay for medical assistance. So he showed actions of a guilty person. So I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a trial analyst or none of that. But from what I'm hearing, and they've got victims that they're going to be able to put on the stand to support the female claims, the 3 other victims. But maybe they've been paid out. Maybe they will refuse to testify. But from what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing in this article, man, they have some strong evidence. Now, again, if those 3 victims that said of a monetary deal with Gervonta Tank Davis refuse to testify, I don't know how that all works. Maybe they can't refuse. If they subpoena, they're going to have to come testify. So I don't know how that all works. I don't know the ins and outs of the Baltimore's city laws. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but from what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing, from what I'm reading, you know, Gervonta Tank Davis can do some jail time. Just based off the fact that he left the scene of the crime. That's a smoking gun right there, in my opinion. Sad situation. The very disturbing news. I hope the female victim gets justice, and we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But this is going to be a domino effect as far as the end of the PBC schedule. Don't look to see Gervonta Tank Davis fighting on December 17th. Look for another fight to happen on that date. That's a pay-per-view date for the PBC. Again, maybe they do Rolly versus AB, or maybe they do Rolly versus Ryan Garcia, or maybe they do Rolly versus Isaac Cruz. There's a lot of different fights that they can put in place of Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Maybe Ryan can still get on that date and still work with the PBC alongside with the Zone and fight Rolly Romero. Or maybe he can get the Isaac Cruz fight. But I doubt if they do that. I think you're probably going to see 2 PBC affiliated fighters fighting on that date. They would be willing to work with Ryan Garcia because that's such a big fight. Work with Ryan Garcia in the Zone because that's such a big fight. That's a fight that is big enough where you can have 2 promotional companies coming together. But I don't think that will be the case with a Rolly versus a Ryan Garcia. So I think they probably would rather do maybe Rolly versus Adrian Broner, put that fight on Showtime pay-per-view, look for Rolly and Adrian Broner to sell the hell out of that fight. They both will make a guaranteed minimum, and they both will get back-end money on the pay-per-view. That would be my guess, but we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard.Briscoe.3551. Like if you like the content of this video. Like, share, and subscribe. To JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, and I holla.